guys, thanks for tuning in. This is Optibottom coming at you with another video review. And on today's episode, we're going to be taking a look at the new Hot Toys MMS 348 of the Iron Man Mark 15, otherwise known as Sneaky, part of the House Party Protocol from Iron Man 3. For the package, you got a really cool image of Sneaky right there in the front, as well as that standard House Party Protocol background where it kind of features like a computer program there in the back. On the back of the package, you got various warnings and contact information for Hot Toys. And then when you open the shoebox style package, you have the cast and crew responsible for making this figure, as well as another background image of the House Party Protocol Hall of Armor. And then when you remove that insert, you're left with an open clamshell that fully showcases the figure, as well as all of his accessories. But for the packaging on this guy, that's about it. So without further ado, let's get Sneaky out here and see how cool he actually is. Alright guys, so here we have Sneaky open up and out of his packaging. And a lot of times people will ask me, Paul, which is your favorite Iron Man suit? And to be totally honest, a lot of the ones that are my favorite are the ones that are very unique and different looking than what we typically get from Iron Man. And that being said, Sneaky here probably is right now my favorite of all of the suits. Now starting off first with his accessories. And much like all Hot Toy figures, he does come with his instruction sheet, which, because this is a fairly new suit, in terms of the overall design, I do recommend going through it. You can see it tells you how to install the batteries, the range of motion that he actually does have, a couple of the inside structure sort of options, and then what pieces to be careful with so that you don't, scrape the paint or anything like that. So again, because this is a new suit, this is definitely something very valuable to go through. But really, he doesn't come with a lot of stuff. In addition to the two fisted hands that are currently on him, he does come with a right and left hand that are sculpted in a repulsor blast sort of pose, so you just plug it in just like that, and you got the nice kind of blasting pose that you can do. One thing that's really very cool, and I honestly have no idea why this is. I like Iron Man. I follow a lot of different kind of things with Iron Man. I have no clue why his right and left hand are designed completely different. You can see his right hand here is a fairly standard looking kind of Iron Man suit. You got the nice repulsor blast on there, great detail painted throughout it. And then when you look at his left hand, number one, it's a lot bigger and bulkier, but you can see a much more kind of chunky looking design, honestly, on it. I don't know why it's like that. I would imagine it's written somewhere. I just haven't been able to find it anywhere. But you can see some real great sculpted detail on here, and then throughout the entire thing, you got these little blue sections of paint, which correspond with the fact that this has a slightly different light up area on the actual left arm than the right one does. And of course, I'll show that off here in a bit. And then you also do get a pair of articulated fingers. One thing that's really very nice, and they don't do that a lot, but you can see that the actual joint here has been painted to match the joint like on the other ones. A lot of times those are just left completely unpainted. So that's really nice to see that they actually put that extra touch in there. And then again, the left hand, very big, very bulky. You can see some extra details coming down here, and obviously you're seeing a little bit of that light kind of bleeding through that section, which again, like I said, I'll touch on a little bit, but it plays into the rest of the little blue sections. But again, this is articulated as well. Because it's a bigger sort of design, the fingers are a little bit more chunky and difficult to kind of pose around, but you can still obviously get kind of like a fist-ish if he's going to punch you with his knuckles. I guess you can do something like that. But for the accessories, that really is about it. As you see, he does come with the display stand. It's one of those large, kind of Hall of Armor sort of looking bases. You got the dynamic, the flexible pillar right there, which works real nice. These do not light up, although you do have the section down here. But again, I really do wish they would give us just the standard ones. Now, this is one that I buy these off of the Amazon. I buy them in like packs of 20, so I always have these. But you can see just how much smaller this actually takes than this. And this is actually a little bit bigger than the ones that Hot Toys give you. But I would really appreciate it more if they're going to include this, to include something like this. Now coming in to take a closer look at the figure, like I said, this is probably my favorite looking suit that we've gotten to date. I love the design on this. The overall concept for Sneaky is that he is a stealth suit. Much like a lot of jet fighters and stuff that have stealth technology, bombers, things like that. They all have these angular sort of panels, and that's what this also has. The purpose of it is it gives it a smaller cross section, and enemy radar is not able to really detect it all that well. You can see some nice rigid areas. Again, you do want to be careful when you're rotating things around, because as you can see, this part right here does kind of rub into the back section. That's where some of the articulation comes in, where you can like extend it out and then rotate it around, because you don't want to damage any of those paint details or the plastic or anything like that. But you got some nice kind of bronzish sort of color throughout there, and a kind of bluish gray color on here. Again, you got all these little painted on details that, again, just really add some great detail to the overall piece. You can see that it says Iron Man 3 or IM3 GW. I don't know what GW stands for, but then you got the Mark 15 logo right there. Just overall great looking design. Coming around here to the back, you can see you got those weird angular kind of panels that hang out. Got some thrusters and such back there. Some more writing, which I can't actually read that, but just some added detail throughout the entire thing. Come down here to the legs. Again, you got some more warnings and things painted along the side here. And then you got some of that great paint detail. I mean, I love the little weathering and dirt marks that this actually has. I mean, that is spectacular looking. But then again, very cool look for the actual legs. They kind of look like bell bottoms, to be totally honest with you, but you got a much smaller, I mean, you can go to this side and you can see that the legs actually are fairly wide, and then you come to there and it's got a much smaller cross section. Even when you kind of move it around here, you can see that the legs look smaller. So as he's flying, enemy radar is going to kind of pass through that a little bit easier. But just like I was saying, the arms have a slightly different kind of light up feature here to kind of highlight the different hand that he has. So much like all Iron Man figures, you got the little helmet section right here. You lift this up and you can switch that on right there. You get the nice light up eyes, which always look really cool. I'm going to turn that off because, again, I don't want to kill the batteries or anything. Plug that right in there. Come around to the back. This section here can be a little bit tricky to get to. You just kind of pull this piece. There you go. You actually do get one of those little tools that help you to kind of pull that out. But you got the little switch in here. You just come around here, switch that on, and you got a nice circular arc reactor. You can actually remove this and you can kind of see some more extra detail on the inside here, and the very bright arc reactor. I love the way that that looks. Not triangular, which is a little bit different than some of the previous ones, but I don't mind it. It looks pretty good. So putting that back up there, tucking this up, and locking that in. And then the wrists do have the lights on there, so you just remove this section right here and you got the little blast thing here. Let me take this hand out because you need to be able to see what I'm doing. So put that one on there and then switch that on, and you can see the very nice light up reactor on that side. The other one, though, like I said, is a little bit different. It has a little bit more of a bleeding effect in other areas. So getting this on, come around here, you can even see that the panel is a little bit different here on the top section. Let me see if I'm going to extend this out. I can't really rotate that. Oh yeah, I can. You can see that this is a little bit different than this is, so it's not perfectly symmetrical when it comes to the actual arms, which I dig. Again, I like that uniqueness that this suit really does have. So collapsing all of this back in, you come around, you remove this the exact same way, and then again, I'm going to take this hand off because it's just a fist and you're gonna miss out on those details. So putting in his repulsor blast hand, get that in there. That's really stiff. You come around here, you flip the little switch right down on the bottom section, and you can actually see this piece also lights up. So again, I don't know how you could see that. So there we go. Well, something like that. There you go. You can see that piece actually lights up, which does give a little bit of a bleeding effect. And then when you put this on, you can see some more of that light kind of coming through here. And then obviously you do have the repulsor blast, which is the same, but that just, like I said, kind of bleeds through a little bit more as if it's giving, you know, some extra power. And then in conjunction with the little blue that's on the fingers, I think that looks really very cool. I love that. Now, granted, I don't leave the lights on these figures, so you lose a little bit of that kind of effect, but that's one aspect that I like with the actual paint detail here. You lose the little light up, but I mean, the way that the hands look are pretty cool just by themselves. So really very awesome looking design with this, and I know we've gotten several different stealth suits before, but this one just feels cooler. Now for his articulation, the head actually can rotate very nicely. This bottom section here is a separate piece, but you don't really get much rotation because it's pretty much shaped like the opening of the neck. So that doesn't really pivot or anything very much. One thing that is cool though is much like the shotgun armor, you got this back section that actually slides down when you move the head down, kind of getting out of the way so that you can knock the top of his helmet off, so that you can actually get a further range of motion with a flying post. So that's nice to see that actually hinges back and forth. And I keep knocking that off. Do I not have that pushed in there very well? I might not. But you got the little pivot side to side and all that standard kind of articulation. The shoulders here, as you can see, actually do slide out, and that's one way to really make sure that you don't damage anything as you rotate it around. This piece right here is on a little bit of a springy ball joint kind of thing, so it kind of flexes out of the way, and you can position it where you want, but you don't want to rotate it while it's like this. So pull it out, rotate it, collapse it back in, get it in the position that you want so that there's no paint scrape or anything like that. You can see that he rotates at the upper part of the bicep, and then he does bend at about 90 degrees here at the elbow, but the elbow also then can extend down a little bit, giving a more straight rotation, and you get a little bit more of a bend here at the elbow. So some nice extra articulation in that section. The waist also does extend up. I mean, as it is right now, you don't get much. You get a little bit of forward and back and some pivot side to side, but to get the full range, you extend it up and then you get a little bit more forward and back, and then you can rotate it around a little bit more as well. And then these little pieces here lift up and out on both sides. You got a front section and a side section, and then you can rotate the legs forward about that far. You can go back, they can go in and out a little bit, or you can take and extend the legs down and get a much further range of motion, which always is very nice and handy. You can do that on both legs as well. And then come down here, you can see you got the little rotation there, but again, pull that down and then you can rotate it a little bit more, and then you can collapse it up so you don't get any actual damage going on there. The knees have two joints. You can see you got a joint right up here that flexes fairly decently, and then you got a lower section that gives a much further range of motion. Come down to the ankles, and these sections actually detach down a little bit so that you can pivot these a little bit forward and back, in and out, and then you got some toe articulation as well. And then one thing that's neat is I never noticed this, you got painted detail on the bottom for his feet. With that's actually pretty cool. One other piece that I didn't mention, I showed you how this section here can remove, and you got the detail on there. You also do have some added detail here on the back of the leg. These pieces hinge out, and then you can lift them up, and you can see some really nice molded detail on the inside there of both of these legs, which look really very good. I never even noticed that. You got a little blue paint right there on the side of the leg as well. That's cool. So if you wanted to get some extra detail, I really like it when they do that, so you can see the internal workings and such of the suit. So just put that back down. Overall, lots of articulation in the figure. There is some limitations when you're moving things around, but really everything else is perfectly designed to kind of get out of the way so that you can get it in whatever kind of poses you want. Like I said, honestly, for me, I think just standing there, he looks pretty cool by itself. Overall, though, a really fun and cool looking suit. As I said, a lot of times the unique looking suits end up being my favorite, and this is definitely one of them. And while he doesn't come with a lot, the price is actually fairly high on him. I really have no doubt that the price on it is because of the unique nature of the suit though. But I love him. I think that he turned out great. The detail on here looks fantastic. I really like the fact that they put in all those articulation points so that you don't rub anything. And if you're collecting the House Party Protocol, this is another one to add to it. It may not necessarily be, a must-have for kind of casual Iron Man fans, but I think the unique look of them could definitely appeal to some that are just interested in having a cool looking Iron Man suit. So if that's you and you'd like to add this guy to your collection, he is available right now at Sideshow Collectibles. So all you have to do for that is click on the link down in the video description. You'll go to Sideshow where you can check out availability on this guy, as well as the rest of their wide range of Hot Toys 1/6 scale figures. But beyond that, guys, that's about it. So once again, I want to thank you for tuning in. This has been Optibottomus. Don't forget that if you like this video, to please like and share it. It goes a long way towards helping me out. Also, be sure to subscribe in case you haven't already subscribed. That way you get instant email notifications whenever I upload a new video, and you never miss out on a future review of mine. Or if you're already subscribed, be sure to click on that little bell on my homepage and double check that your settings are set so that you get those email notifications. And as always, until next time, be excellent to each other.